Shalom. Oh, Abiyah, thank you for this Shabbat, and we're about to hit uh, the second part of what is food. All right, about to hit the second part. From food to men, y'all lying about what's clean and unclean, part two. So I thank you, Yahuwah, for allowing me this time and allowing me to go forth. So let's go. All right, go. Let's go. Go. So I just dealt with what food is, and I'm gonna go back to what food is for Israel. Gonna deal with that again. So let me get going. I'm gonna get back to sharing my screen to start off where I kind of left off. So that's where I'm gonna start off first. Let's go. All right. Starting off right here with broma. Broma. This is the word for meat that is used. And again, this food, broma, is also ceremonially, especially articles allowed, it says, or forbidden by Jewish law. We're not Jewish, we're Israelites, but the dietary law is what is basically is saying, is letting us know about the dietary law. So you have clean and unclean meats. Food would be things that are labeled as clean. So let's go. I don't really have to go through this again, but I'm gonna hit it just a second, so you can see that the word is the Greek 1033 broma. That's the same word that is used in First Timothy 4:3, as well as Romans 14:20. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. We'll stop sharing this and start getting to the text. So, all right. Want to get it moving, get it moving, get it moving. So we're sharing the screen and getting to the text where I want to start off. So I'm going to start off right here with Timotheus Aleph, or First Timothy. Said, but the Spirit, the Ruach, distinctly says that in the latter times some shall fall away from the belief, paying attention to misleading ruachs or spirits and teaching of demons. This teaching that eating meat is a sin, I showed over and over where Yah told the people to eat the Passover lamb, where Yahusha even gave them fish, and he himself ate fish and honeycomb. But now you have people teaching that it's a sin to eat meat. There's nothing wrong with being vegan. As you see, Daniel, I showed that. Daniel, for a time, so not to eat the ceremonial meat of a sovereign, another mighty one, he ate vegetables and fruit. He and the other three Hebrew boys, Hebrew men, I should say. All right. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having been branded on their own conscience, forbidding to marry, not dealing with marriage and polygyny and nothing that right now, but saying to abstain from foods. As I got through showing foods, broma, ceremonially clean meats. So they're forbidding you from marry to marry So how the Catholic have you not eating, not being married, but you have to stay as a priest to be, but that ain't the focus. But saying to abstain from foods which Elohim created to be received with thanksgiving. It's not dealing with unclean things like swine and the mouse, dealing with bugs like roaches and stuff like that. In Asia, these things are considered a part of their culture. But we are Yasharal. Our culture is different. Though we live in the Americas, we live all over. Our culture is supposed to be different and more set apart. So saying to abstain from foods which Elohim created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth. Because every creature of Elohim, I'm going to deal with this creature. I've been highlighting or saying creature louder than everything else I've been saying for a purpose. Because some people will make it as if all creatures are good to eat. Because every creature is good, of Elohim is good. Yeah, it's good when it's in its intent. When it's waste management, when it's doing its job, yes, it's good. And none is to be rejected if received with thanksgiving. You don't take in unclean things to eat. And I want to address that. Let's go. Let's go. So now we're gonna start moving on to some other stuff. I'm gonna go over here and show some things. I'm focusing of shifting from the food to men, but I still gotta hit that a little bit. So right here, Messiah or Acts 10, it says, Now there was a certain man of Caesarea called Cornelius, a captain of what was called the Italian regiment. The Italian regiment. He was an Italian, dedicated and fearing Elohim with all his household, doing many kind deeds to the people and praying to Elohim always. You'll have people say that he was actually a lost sheep or whatever. That's not my focus. But let's keep going. He clearly saw a vision, and about the ninth hour of the day, a messenger of Elohim coming to him and saying to him, Cornelius. And looking intently at him and becoming afraid, he said, What is it, master? And he said to him, Your prayers and your kind deeds have come up for remembrance before Elohim. And now send men to Yaffo and send for Shaman, who is also called Kepha. We call him Peter in the English, but Kepha or Kepha. He is staying with Shaman, a leather tanner, whose house is by the sea. And when the messenger who spoke to him went away, Cornelius called two of his household servants and a dedicated soldier from among those who waited on him continually. This was a man of authority. He knew how to operate in authority. And having explained to them all, he sent them to Yaffo. And on the next day, as they were on their way and approaching the city, Kepha went up on the housetop to pray, and about the sixth hour, and became hungry and wished to eat. But while they were preparing, he fell into a trance, and he saw the heaven open and a certain vessel like a great sheet bound at four corners descending to him and let down to the earth, in which all kinds of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping creatures and the birds of the heaven. And the voice came to him, Rise up, Kepha, slay and eat. But Kepha said, Not at all, master, because I have never eaten whatever is common or unclean. What is common or unclean? And a voice came to him, and again the second time, What Elohim has cleansed, you do not consider common. So people would try to justify eating pork and stuff like that off of this, but let's keep going. And this took place three times, and the vessel was taken back to the heaven. And Kepha was doubting within himself about the vision, what the vision might mean. So he didn't take it to be literal. He knew it meant something. Look, the men who had been sent from Cornelius, having asked for the house of Shimon, stood at the gate. Hmm. Oh, man. And calling out, they inquired whether Shimon, also known as Kepha, was staying there. Let me stop this. If you read the Bible, you should know this story. Kepha, or Peter, Kepha, knew after some time that this vision had nothing to do with eating unclean things. It was about accepting these people that were labeled unclean. As I mentioned in the first message, I'm going to mention it again. Starting off with Adam. Adam was set apart to Yah. All being came through him. So if Adam was clean and set apart, every man that came from him potentially was clean and set apart, unless you defile. But there's a way to clean things that are defiled by touch or association. Because they inherently are really clean, they just been defiled. So it's not that they are automatically unclean like the swine and things like that. Those things are unclean. The rat, unclean. But people are not the same. Yah destroyed all of the earth and left Noah and his sons and their wives. He reset the whole thing he did with Adam. So his sons come from him. They were clean. So the sons of Noah, being Ham, Shem, and Japheth, all were clean. But we like, oh no, all these other nations. But where did these nations come from? They're the seed of this righteous man Noah. The tree itself, the root, is righteous. With time, things change. Can they not be cleaned again? Can they not? Because if we get unclean, can we not be cleaned again? This is Shabbat. When you lay with your woman, you got to cleanse that. You got to be clean again. Not saying that laying with your woman is a defiled situation, but you got to cleanse yourself afterwards because of the excretions. But again, oh boy, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go back. Because I don't have to read the whole narrative. I'm gonna do some skipping through, but I'm going back to where I was. And let me move down to verse 28, I think that is. That's where I want to go. And it said, and he said, you know that a Yahudi man is not allowed to associate with or go to one of another culture. But Elohim has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Wasn't talking about what was on that sheet, the different animals, but he was talking about man. That is why I came without hesitation when I was sent for. So I asked, why have you sent for me? And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour. And in the night hour I prayed in my house, and see, a man stood before me in shining garments and said, Cornelius, your prayer has been heard, and your kind deeds are remembered before Elohim. Seek ye first the kingdom of Yah. This man of the Italian regiment was seeking forth Yahuwah. Why would y'all not hear him? If this man is acting righteous, though of another culture, would he still not be the seed of Ham, Shem, or Japheth? Why would his promises to Noah not also extend to him? If he does what Yah has instructed of those that are his set apart, this man is setting himself apart to Yah, praying to Yah. He's doing everything that us of Israel are commanded to do. He's doing this without a command. He's doing this without a relationship. He's being more honorable than a lot of us are. We're told what to do and we don't do what we're supposed to do. We're not really set apart. This man is functioning more righteous than many of Yasharal. There's a lot of sojourners, a lot of people who have cleaved to Israel that are operating more righteous than Israel. And you want to say disconnect them, you have the wrong mindset, the wrong heart if you think it's only for us. It, I'm gonna go off I got my notes over here, so I do have notes, but I'm gonna go I'm gonna go off of my notes a little bit and skip out of the order that I got it in, and I'm gonna go. Let me go back to sharing my screen, and I'm gonna hit some things that we should already know. All right, I'm just start right here and just hit some stuff. I'm gonna look it up. Exodus 4:22. These are verses that I say a lot. And so anybody who follows me should know these. But if you don't, are you really listening? It says here, Shemot or Exodus 4:22. It says, and you shall say to Pharaoh, thus says Yahuwah, Israel is my son, my firstborn, calling the whole nation of Israel son and firstborn. All right, let me see. Staying here, staying in Shemot. See, going here, Shemot 19:5. Say, now, if you diligently obey my voice, he's talking to Israel, but you think he's a respecter of person? That if other people diligently obey his voice and guard his covenants, that he won't look out for them? No, this is to Israel, but if other people do this, he's not going to look over them. He still has an order. He's got I ain't gonna say he gotta, that he will follow because he said it. He put that. He chose Israel. So it says, and now if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples. You're going to be set apart for me, clean and unclean. You're going to be what I consider clean. But what for? For all the earth is mine, and you shall be a reign of priests and a set apart nation. If you priests, who are you being priests over? You're the priests. You're working for Yah to be priests, to be ministers. If this whole nation of Yasharal is supposed to be priests, who are they priests to? All of the sojourners, all the other nations. There's an order of operations. I'm cleaning you up, setting you to be clean, so that you can help clean the other people. These other have been defiled by life. As you were, I cleaned you up. You assist me in cleaning them up. That's your role and that's your duty. He ain't looking to leave them behind. He made a covenant with Noah and his 3 sons. Yeah, everything came out of the house of Shem, but he raised up oftentimes those from the house of Ham. Pharaoh was one that he anointed, You go and look at Isaiah or Yeshaya 45, you see Cyrus is one he anointed. Over and over, he's used other peoples to express himself, but of course, it always lines go back to Yasharal because that's one son. Let's keep going. Let me keep going. Let me run. I'm off my trail a little bit, but I'm skipping through my notes. I'm gonna go somewhere else and stuff like that because it's the basic things or whatever and stuff like that most people just ignore. So again, the order of operations, Jeremiah 31, of course, it shows you who the covenant is with. It says, "See, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when I shall make a renewed covenant with the house of Yasharal and the house of Yehuda." And then again, this is said again when you go straight over here to Hebrews 8 and 8. It said again, the exact wording basically, verbatim, you know, is going on. So it ain't that he ever replacing or restoring, or he's restoring, but it's not that he ever replaced. He ain't doing replacement theology. That's what men want to do. They want to make it about Christianity, all this stuff. So finding fault with them, he says, "See, the days are coming," says Yahuwah, "when I shall conclude with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehuda a renewed covenant, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Mizraim, because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them, says Yahuwah, because this is the covenant that I shall make with the house of Israel, Yashrael, after those days, says Yahuwah, giving my laws in their mind, and I shall write them on their hearts, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall no by no means teach each one his neighbor. Right now, I'm teaching. You may not accept you as a teacher, but I'm teaching. It won't be needed. Yahoo is going to put it inside the people. He's going to clean them up. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Let me show. You know, I'm off my focus, but I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna go back to my focus still. But I just had to hit these rabbit trails here. Ezekiel 36, 17. See, I believe in Yah. So it says, "Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it. They made it unclean. Just like everybody else has been made unclean from Adam, everybody else made unclean. Then with Noah, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds. Yasharel has done this to themselves. Yahudah, to me, their way was like the uncleanness of a woman in her monthly period. So I poured out my wrath on them for blood they had shed on the land, and for their idols they defiled it." But let me skip down. See, this is let me see. Here we go. "Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus said Master Yahuwah, I do not do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my set apart name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations which you went." He he says, okay, let me skip down. "I shall you, take you from among the nations." This has not happened. He's going to do. "And I shall gather you out of all the lands, and I shall bring you into your own land, and I shall sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean." We were clean. Adam was clean. Those after him, Enoch was clean, but there's a lot of them after were not. Started over with Noah. Him and his sons were clean. But after that, you got Nimrod, all this other stuff. Then Yahoo, you keep going. You see, he keeps on doing something to save them from the condition that they're in. But it's coming where he's going to sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from your idols I cleanse you. And I shall give you a new heart and put a new ruach within you. That's that Jeremiah 31:31. And that Hebrews 8 and 8. He gonna do that. And I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I shall give you a heart of flesh, and put my ruach within you, my spirit, and I shall cause you to walk. I shall cause you to walk in my laws and guard my right rulings and shall do them. Let me get back on focus. Clean and unclean. Cornelius was about that business, about that life. He was an authoritative person, but he knew what the greater authority was Yah. So regardless if he was unclean or not, he sought to be clean. And Yah said, "Hey, you want to be clean? Go holler at my son, my representative, Kepha." Kepha like, "I can't do that." But Yah had to soften him up and get him ready to be obedient, ready to do the will of the priesthood. Supposed to be the priest to the other people to help clean them up. Just like Yah's gonna clean us up, we supposed to help clean up the other people. I was dealing with food to start off. I'm dealing with men now. When you really get to the bottom of everything, Yah's showing us with food how he operates with men. Even the unclean things are set for a purpose. So when you look at Hasatan, he sent him to and fro on the earth. That man's on his that being's on his job. As a royal priest, be on your job. But let me get back to where I'm supposed to be at. Because I done went on a major rabbit trail, which is okay. Because again, I'm trying to expose to you these lies that people are telling. You know, as a nation, only Israel will be saved as a nation. But there will be Corneliuses. There will be sojourners. There'll be those that get their head together, but their nation won't be saved. The kingdom is only set for Israel and those that will cleave to Israel, those that will come up under those priests. These other nations aren't coming to rule, they're coming to be ruled by the will of Yah. And we are technically ruled by the will of Yah. We are his servants, we're his royal priesthood. But we're priests to who? The other nations are not going to get salvation. Nations. Just like Israel, Exodus 4:22 says, Israel, one brother, one son, the whole nation. So these whole nations are not going to be saved. The salvation is only to the one nation, and that is Israel, or Israel and Yahudah is still one nation. Salvation is not to other nations. Yes, individuals can, but they have to now take off that name and be adopted in, cleave in. When you say this, it's so hard for people to get it. And they say, "Oh, you Israel." It's a lot of people that are teaching Israel is only it, and other people are just basically going to hell. That's not what I'm saying. Never been saying. But of course, if that's what you want to put out there, I'm sick and tired. I'm working on me now, not responding to a lot of this stuff that people say and allowing it to get my blood pressure up. I will have good reasoning with people, but I'm done arguing with people on stuff because they wouldn't do it in my face because it probably would come to laying the hands, and I ain't trying to do that either. But let's go back. Let's get back to this word. All right. All right. Going back, sharing my screen, and getting back to it where I want to go. So, 2 Corinthians 5:17, we dealt with something earlier that said all creatures are good and everything. So, you know, let's show something. 2 Corinthians or Corinthian bet. Therefore, if anyone is in Messiah, he is renewed creature. So, if you say you can eat all creatures, can you eat this renewed creature? The old matters have passed away. See, all matters have become renewed. We know we can't eat people. So come on, stop just using the English language to pervert what our culture stands for. And I get it. We've heard this many times through Christian rhetoric. A lot of us came in as Christians, so we looking and using the English words and not dealing with what they mean. Let me stop and let me go over here. Let me show you something. Let me share my screen again on something else. All right. All right. Gotta move, make my screen big. So First Timothy 4:4, creature is G 2938, a katisma, original formation, concretely, i.e., product, created thing. 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore, if any man be in Messiah, he is a new creature. See, it's the same word. For every creature of Yah is good and nothing to be refused if received with thanksgiving. So they try to use that for food, but again, these are same words, basically the roots. You got 2938 there, 2937, but when you look at it, they blow it up. They both, this says from G 2936, creature. Let's go down here. This one, let me see if do that. From G 2936. So both of these words, 2937 and 2938, are from the same root. Creature and creature mean the same. We ain't eating humans. That ain't good. Cannibalism is not good. So people have been beating that verse to death, saying that all creatures are good. When so man is creatures too. You can't use that to validate eating pork, eating shellfish. You have to go back to the broma. Broma. I'm gonna just, let me share that just so I can, you know, tap it back in and see that broma, when it comes to meat, 10 G1033 is ceremonially clean or allowed. So it'd be clean and not the unclean. Right there. You can't mix it up. But again, this focus is not on the food, but I had to still tie it in. So let's go. Let's get up out of here. Let's go back to text. So, I've identified that Adam was ceremonial clean, as well as Noah. You know, both were set apart for the will of Yahuwah. All men were birthed both, through them. With you got Adam for creation, and then you got Noah, all men birthed through him after the flood. You know, I'm gonna hit some stuff, because there was some time that that it was a prophecy that men would be eaten. So, you know, this wasn't a good time. So, if you want to say that all creation could be eaten, there's a time that it was prophecy that that would happen, but it wasn't a good time. Let's go over there. Let's let's hit that. Let's hit that. Okay, let's hit that. Yirmiyahu 19 says, "Thus says Yahuwah, go and get a potter's earthen jug, and take some of the elders of the people and some of the elders of the priests. Then you shall go out to the valley of the son of Hinnon, which is by the entry of the potsherd gate, and shall proclaim there the words that I speak to you, and shall say, Hear the word of Yahuwah, O sovereigns of Yahudah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, See, I am bringing evil on this place that makes the ears tingle of all who hear it. Not good, evil, because they have forsaken me." Cornelius was seeking him out, obeying him, which we should do. But Israel at this time was forsaking him. They weren't listening to him, and have profaned this place and have burnt incense in it to other mighty ones, whom neither they, their fathers, nor the sovereigns of Yehudah have known. And they have filled this place with blood of the innocents, and have built the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire and ascending offerings to Baal, which I did not command or speak. They're not doing what he's saying. They doing stuff he didn't command. Nor did I it come into my heart. These ain't things he ever thought about. Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, that this place shall no more be called Topheth, or the valley of the son of Hinnom, but rather the valley of slaughter. And I shall pour out the counsel of Yehudah and Jerusalem in this place, and I shall make them fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hands of those who seek their lives. And I shall give their corpses as meat for the birds of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth. Mm. And I shall make this city a ruin and hissing. Everyone who passes by it is appalled and hisses because of its plagues. And I shall make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and eat one another's flesh in the siege and in the distress of which their enemies and those who seek their lives distress them. Cannibalism, evil. And you shall break the judge before the eyes of the men who go with you, and shall say to them, Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, even so I break this people and this city, as one breaks a potter's vessel, which one is unable to repair again, and let them bury them at Topheth till there is no place to bury. This is what I shall do to this place, declares Yahuwah, and to its inhabitants, so as to make this city like Topheth. And the houses of Jerusalem and the houses of the sovereigns of Yehudah shall be as unclean as the place of Topheth. Unclean. The people becoming unclean, just like the unclean meats, these unclean people, creatures, because of all the houses of whose roofs they have burned incense to all the host of the heavens and poured out drink offerings to other mighty ones. Israel has oftentimes become unclean. And yet we want to talk about people like Cornelius who are labeled unclean and them not being able to be cleaned up. If they're not able to be cleaned up, then why should we be able to? When we chose to defile ourselves, these people started the game defiled. We came in the game winning. We came in as sons. We came in as Exodus 4:22, you know, and these folks, these other nations, they ain't had that same relationship with Yah. He didn't set them apart to be a royal priesthood. The priesthood was set to be for those people, but some of those people are coming to Yah without the priest being in line and being in order. He set everything in place for us to get it right, and we still ain't getting it right. And you got other cultures of people, individuals getting it right without us leading them towards it. Man, that that's insulting towards Yah. And when Yirmiyahu returned to Topheth, where Yahuwah had sent him to prophesy, he stood in the courtyard of the house of Yahuwah and said to all the people, thus said Yahuwah of hosts of the Elohim of Israel, see, I am bringing on this city and all her towns all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have stiffened their necks so as not to hear my words. Man, we some stiff-necked people, very stiff-necked. But let's go. Let's keep going. Gonna keep moving to the very next, connected reading. And it says, and Pashar, son of Immer, the priest, who was also chief governor in the house of Yahuwah, heard that Jeremiah prophesied this word. He heard this, thus says Yahuwah, coming from Yirmiyahu, and what? I don't, if you listen to me long enough, my favorite prophet is Micaiah, and how he, was saying what he had to say towards Ahab, and he got. But now, Yirmiyahu and Pasha struck Yirmiyahu the prophet and put him in the stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was by the house of Yahuwah. Mm-mm-mm. Smack! You're like, what you saying is false. He don't know no better, I guess. And it came to be on the next day that Pasha brought Yirmiyahu out of the stocks, and Yirmiyahu said to him, Yahuwah has not called your name Pasha, but Magor Missabel. And thus said Yahuwah, see, I am making you a fear to yourself and to all your loved ones, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, while your eyes see it, and I shall give all all Yahudah into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, and he shall exile them to Babel and strike them with sword. And I shall give all the wealth of this city and all its labor and all its valuables and all its treasures of the sovereigns of Yahudah I give into the hand of their enemies, who shall plunder them and seize them and shall bring them to Babel. Just a second. I gotta get my power cord. Trying not to lose my message. Thought I was gonna be able to go a while without plugging in my cord, but guess I gotta plug this thing in. So let me do that. I don't want to lose none of this. Nope, don't want to lose none of this. Find find it. Got it. I got it. I'm back in here. Forgive me. It's all good. We have some operator errors here and there. But all right. And Pastor and all who dwell in your house shall go into captivity and enter Babel, and there you shall die and be buried, you and all your loved ones to whom you have prophesied falsehoods. But so let me see. I want to do something. Jeremiah 20 and 3. Let me see. I'm gonna have to stop the screen so I can do something. But I want to go into my word. Uh-huh. I got Eastward on here, and I want to look at that and see what it says. I want to see what that name means. Let's see. Let's see. Oh man, Abiyah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh man. So we're looking at verse 3, and it comes up to be H4036. Let me see if I can share my screen again, and I'm gonna read this off because why not? We studying while we learning. We might well bring light to the darkness. So let me see. There you go. It says inserted a fright from around. Okay, a fright from around. Hmm. All right. A right from around. So, all right. I just want to look at that. Let me get back to what I'm doing. All right. So, we done went over that. Let's go back to sharing the screen and get back to the message because I'm finna finish off or whatever. I'm gonna go over here and show how, you know, people hit this up. Let me see. I think I'm gonna cut it short. I'm gonna hit this though. Romans 14, 13. It says, "Therefore, let us not judge one another any longer, but rather judge this, not to put an obstacle or stumbling block in our brother's way." So I have no issue with somebody who's eating vegetables and fruit, and that's their thing. They don't eat meat. But man, so many people that live that lifestyle be trying to condemn people who eat meat, saying that they sinning and all this. And then I'm like, y'all lying. Y'all, if that's what's best for you, because it's amazing how many vegans, supposed vegans, that be fat and out of shape. They be out of shape. When you look at them, you be like, man, how is he so frumpy and like that, and he don't eat no meat? Probably eats a lot of cakes and stuff like that. And maybe that's just me. I'm looking at it wrong. I don't know. But stop trying to push your way of living on somebody else. You don't eat meat. Cool. But you ain't finding nothing in this book that's saying that it's a sin, a transgression of the law. Where is the law? Where is the command? Where is the Torah that says not to eat meat, ceremonially clean meat? Show it to me. And they can't. But they're the ones that are becoming a stumbling block to a lot of folks. When it comes to the Passover, they have an issue with you eating your lamb, but the Passover tells you to do it. And I get it. It's a whole lot of vegans that don't. They don't. So they don't really do the Passover. They say they do the Passover, but you don't see them eating the meat. So what Passover are they doing? Yahusha himself set forth the Passover. But you want to talk about these non-Israelite people, non-Yasharal, being unclean, but they will do what Yah says a lot of times before these people who call themselves clean. Yah, why would Yah have to prophesy about him having to clean us up if we were already clean? We're supposed to be walking clean, set apart, but we're not. And so you got a lot of sojourners that come in and cleave, and they doing this thing pretty well. I ain't saying fall up under their leadership, because again, the order is supposed to be, we supposed to be the oracles, we supposed to be the leaders. But man, it's sad when you have the sojourners And a lot of these palm skins or other folks that are walking more in love, ministering more about Yahuwah than those that are supposed to be biologically born. I get into it with a lot of my teacher friends or whatever because they say it ain't about Israel, the other nation, and I'm like, it's about Israel. The bloodline matters first, but if the bloodline is not operating in righteousness, then they will be disincluded, not included as well. But the order of operation is that Israel be the royal priesthood, not no other nation. The covenants are with Israel. You can't get access to the covenants without Israel because that's who the covenants to. The promises are to Israel. So if other people don't cleave to the righteous ones of Israel, because all of Israel ain't Israel. If you ain't walking in obedience to Yah, you're operating as a son of someone else. You're serving other mighty ones. So you're defiled. But the order of operations is Israel as priesthood to the other nations of people, and not those nations are no longer, those kingdoms no longer will exist. They have to cleave. They have to basically, it's almost like a husband marrying a wife and she has to give up her maiden name. Modernly, we used to people keeping their maiden name, so I guess that's why people want to fight and keep their kingdoms and think that's how that works. They want to keep their assemblies and their camps. Oh, I'm from this and I'm from that. Like when you go into the kingdom, like that's gonna matter. Like y'all gonna say, oh, that's that, assembly. That's that camp. No, y'all ain't gonna be focused on none of that. Those titles and those designations ain't gonna mean nothing because all they are denominations, and denominations mean divisions. And divided we fall. We unite under the 12 tribes of Israel. We unite under his kingdom, not under any of these other titles and entities. It's a lie if you out here telling people that you have to be a part of this assembly of this. That's a lie. And you may cause people to miss the whole ship, miss the ark, and lose access to the covenant because you done told them some lie. But okay. Therefore, let us not judge one another any longer, but rather judge this, not to put an obstacle or a stumbling block in our brother's way. I know and am persuaded in the Master Yahusha that none at all is common or of itself, but to him who regards whatever to be common, to him it is common. And if your brother is grieved because your food, again, you look up this word, ceremonial clean, you are no longer walking in love. Do not do not by your food ruin the one whom Messiah died. So look, if I'm hanging out with some vegetarian and it offends them, oh, you eating Bambi. I will choose to not eat it for that moment and come back to it. But the same way, if I'm eating meat, maybe it'd be, considerate of them not to try to put a guilt on somebody eating meat. Oh, we gotta work something out here. The way you living for you is not wrong. The way I'm living for me is not wrong, especially if we both are operating within the guidelines of Torah. It's when you start manipulating people and trying to impose how you run your house on their house. That's when the problem comes in. That's when the set apartness of your situation, what are you set apart to? Your will, your reign, or Yah's? Yah's reign says that meat, ceremonial clean meat, the clean meat is acceptable. There's nothing wrong with you going vegan, though. Nothing. But you putting a greater burden on someone that's living that lifestyle of eating meat. Now, again, let's talk real. You should not be eating just loads and loads of meat, to the point that you're, you know, conducive, kind of almost comatose. No, overindulgence in anything is a problem. You can overeat with vegetables and fruit. A person with diabetes can have a problem by eating fruit. The sugar, natural sugar, could cause them to have a problem. Overindulgence in anything can be a problem. Lately, I had been doing too much with Facebook or whatever and allowing it to get to me, so I took a little step away from Facebook for the most part. Wasn't really a fast, but I pulled away for a minute. I guess I'm back, but I gotta have more restraint. Let me see. Am I gonna touch something else? I think I'm gonna leave it here. You know, me and our creatures too. You need to become a new creature. We cannot eat all creatures. Yes, when they're doing their purpose, they're good. Even swine is good when it's doing its purpose of eating up dead stuff. Even shellfish, our waterways look a lot better if we leave the shellfish alone, as far as eating, and let them do what they're supposed to do, clean that up. Our waterways look so bad and stink so bad because it's full of pollution and trash, but people have eaten up the waste management program. They've eaten the shellfish. They've eaten all of the crabs, the lobster, the shrimp, the bottom feeders. Man, you go to a lot of these little lakes and stuff like that, and they look horrible because what? They've taken the goldfish out of there. They've taken all of the carp. They've taken all of the catfish up out of there. Those things are there to clean up and eat away at a lot of the refuse, the fecal matter, the feces. Well, I don't know. Hopefully, this is some edifying stuff to somebody. And of course, I'm always open to conversation that's edifying. I'm not gonna be sitting up there arguing with folks. If I'm gonna start just blocking people that want to call me out of my name. You don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. It's okay to have a discussion and disagree, though. No, but when it goes to insult, excuse me, and it has the name calling and everything, and you want to, challenge my character and stuff like that. If you have, hey, maybe you need to find me and see me to my face and say that. Otherwise, shut up. And no, you don't have to shut up. I'll help you shut up. I'll block you because I'm not gonna keep dealing with this stuff. I'm getting older, and it's like, for what? It's working me, and I don't need to allow that to do. So, Abiyah, thank you for the Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to minister. May someone get something from this. I know I want to deal with the idea of the cleanliness of food and the cleanliness of men. Let your set apart will be done in your creation. Let us be able to start seeing things clearer. I get it. The book we read is not exhaustive, but we have so many that are in love with learning that some of them are being misguided. May you recorrect and redirect those, even if it's me, to see things the way you want it seen, not to allow the perversion and the distractions of this world to consume us. Let us become more and more set apart and be about your will being done on earth as it is in the Shamayim. I thank you as Shanquil Yah or Shanquilla Carter, the Moray, the elder, the Zakim of One Vision Ministry. No, I don't have an assembly. I'm over 50, so I'm retired. I should be retired from that. But I still have the responsibility of my household. I will minister here as long as you allow me, Yah. and may others be able to glean from the grapes that I share in messages. I thank you, Yahuwah, for this Shabbat, this day of rest. It's much needed. May your will be done on earth as it is in the Shamayim. Shankwa Yah, One Vision Ministry. Shabbat Shalom. Ahava to all that have listened. Shema Yasharao. Shema Yasharao. Shema Yasharao. Yada Yahuwah.